Hello classmates, my name is Katia Etienne and this is my video for Emerging Bilingual. The definition of emerging bilingual is a term that is used by educators to basically associate immigrant students in a English language learners, which is also ELL, that's the acronym for it, and also the government agencies or officials have used the acronym LEPs, Limited English Proficient Students. Both of these terms are used to describe and associate immigrant students who are bilingual, meaning they have a second language. The benefits of being bilingual, the reading and the research showed that the benefits of being bilingual, you have basically English as a second language as a bilingual student. It gives students an academic advantage, meaning students are more prone to be basically better in academics than an American student. A lot of times we realize that the bilingual students, they're more eager and they have much more of a drive to learn the material than a regular student that is actually born in America. And we have also noticed that it is easy to learn a second language. And those are the benefits of being bilingual. The next slide that I'm going to show are the different labels throughout the present years, actually going back all the way to, I'm sure, further past 2015, the year of 2015. We have I would say about 6 or 7 different labels that have changed throughout the years for bilingual students. Before 2015, they were labeled as Limited English Proficient, LEP. 2015, they changed the name to Every Student Succeed Acts, ESSA. After that, following, I'm not sure regarding the years. I try to do a little bit of research regarding the specific year. The label was basically existent in the educational background, but after 2015, they changed roughly about 4 times for different labels for students. English learner, which is EL, culturally and linguistically diverse, CLD, English language communication barriers, ELCB, English as a second language, ESL, students language minority, LM. In the present year, 2020, and also I would probably say about 2018, 2019, they are now labeled as English language learners, ELL. A lot of us are very familiar with this particular acronym versus the other ones because a lot of times educators and government officials felt like the other labels or acronyms gave bilingual students kind of a bad reputation, and it limited them in a lot of areas, because once those students were labeled these different I guess you can say acronyms or different labels in the American schools, they basically would look at a student differently. And those are the labels associated with the bilingual students. A lot of us are, like I said, very familiar with the ELL, which is English language learners. The next slide, the effects of labeling. A lot of times, like I stated, labeling, it made it very difficult for educators to kind of get through the barrier of bilingual students. And a lot of bilingual students were very embarrassed about being labeled those different names. And I believe a lot of times when you, let's say you are, in class or you're starting a new school, people automatically look at your schedule and they're like, oh, you're in an ESOL class, or you're slow. They use that definition a lot of times, or you have a special needs as the ESOL acronym. And that wasn't the case. It was mostly, majority of the time, 95% of the time, those students just needed help speaking English. But it became a bad reputation for students and also educators whenever they would see the ESOL acronym on their schedule. It automatically labeled them into this child or this student is specially handicapped, which that was not the case. We also noticed that children would not be more open to receiving assistance or help in the education field, meaning they didn't want to go for tutoring because of these particular labels. So it did hinder a lot of educational assistance for the student and the teacher standpoint. The next, the last question is reinforcing bilingualism in the classroom. These are different steps that I feel like could definitely benefit in the classroom. Family engagement, I think, is definitely number one. When you have a bilingual student in your class, a lot of times it is very, very, very important to include their family. It makes them feel like their family has the upper hand and they are available for questions, concerns, comments, and it allows the student to be more vocal at home and at school. Environmental support. Always create a warm, nurturing environment for your student as a bilingual student. If you notice, when children, younger children, I believe, when they come into a classroom, they try to recognize with what they understand and what they know. So a lot of times I, as a teacher, would put different background or cultural background information in my classroom. Different cultures like African culture, let's say Nigerian, the Nigerian culture, Islam, Mexican culture, different cultures or backgrounds in the classroom, so the child can feel like they are associated with the classroom, and therefore they'll feel much more comfortable. Develop one lesson. I believe bilingual students need to focus on one thing at a time. We have to remember that they are not fast-paced like a lot of our children in the classroom, which are the American-based children that only speak one language. They have two languages, so a lot of times they have to interpret different things and different meanings, and at times use translation as an assistant, so it may take them a bit longer. And that is why a lot of times we need to cut the lesson in half. Maybe one portion of the lesson, then tomorrow we'll pick up on the other portion and make it a little bit easier. Still at the same pace as the classroom, but just make it a little bit easier for the student. Reduce non-essential detail. I am a stickler about this in the classroom. Whatever is not of importance to the student, delete. I think that it is sometimes it can be it can be kind of an invasion of their minds. It takes up space, and a lot of times we don't want that. We want their minds to be clear, and being able to show the different concepts or the curriculum. You have to erase things that are not important or that doesn't have a factor in what you're doing. I hope you guys enjoyed my PowerPoint and my video, and I hope we all can connect in some way with the different ways bilingual students can basically be labeled and be labeled in a negative way. Thank you. Bye-bye.